faculty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? We're back. I am Jay with Guilty of Crime. And hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. I see some folks in chat. I've seen a couple in the past few days that may have a problem renewing their membership, and I think it may be a YouTube issue. I'm sorry that I can't help more. Please email me if you're having that trouble, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, or you can email any of the mods. They'd be happy to help. We'll try to drop links in the show. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Angie, hello from Texas. Shelly, good to see you. All right, guys. So today, let's put this up here. We are talking about Melina. I'm calling her Melina Galinas just because Frattolin is kind of Melina Galinas Frattolin. This little girl needs justice from Montreal, Canada, found in New York. So many of you guys messaged me, and I hear you. I hear you. Sometimes I can't answer back because I'm swamped with other things, but I hear you. I see the Instagram messages. I see the Facebook posts. I see the emails. I see the text messages, y'all. So do me a favor. Come on in. Hit the like button. It is birthday month. It's Leo and Cancer birthday month. My birthday is Friday. So anything that you guys, any of the memberships that you gift today, if you have the means to gift, it's for the Leos and the Cancer month, and it's birthday month in general for in July. So if you have the means, super chat, super sticker, pay, all the stuff, guys. You know the deal. We have a lot to talk about today, and then the rest of this short week for me. I'm undecided if I'm going to stream on July 25th, which is my actual birthday. We'll see. But we still have to cover many cases, and we still have to talk about where's Jen Soto and what's happening now. So stay tuned for that this week, and other episodes coming out as well. We had exclusive content yesterday. We had Thomas Karras come on and talk about him seeing Stefan right where the body was dumped, changing the tire, and how that transpired. I put it out in a separate video for you guys tomorrow, so you don't have to watch 2.5 hours. And then later on in the week, we're going to break down the Stefan Stearns documents and anything new that I feel like I need to share. So we got a lot. We got a lot to do. We will not forget about Madeline Soto ever, and anything that comes through we will report. So welcome. Today we're talking about kidnapping hoax gone way wrong. 9-year-old Melina found dead, dad arrested for red rumming her, and you guys are going to be surprised why. There's a lot of information in this case, and I just don't hear very often a why. I see a what, and also her autopsy report just came in today. So if you don't know anything about this case, Melina Galinas was taken by her dad, and the reason this is so important because he did a kidnapping hoax where he actually called 911 and things just didn't add up. So, boom, they treated him like a criminal. And I'll tell you why. We're going to go through all the details why, but do me a favor, say a prayer that this little girl, Melina, gets the justice she deserves. I prayers for her mom, prayers for the family. I'm going to tell you how this all unfolded. You're going to see it all. So if you have not heard about this case or haven't followed the minute details, well, today you're going to. Lynn, hi Jay. I did get an Amber Alert for Melina. Locally, everyone local said they thought she was dead. Now, they put an Amber Alert. They were going to put an Amber Alert originally, and then they didn't. I'm glad to hear that they ultimately did do that. But you're going to see how this case flip-flops today. What's up, Lady for Justice? How you doing? You guys meandering your way on in. I know it's not the usual suspect case and what everybody else is covering today, but I really wanted to put the Melina Galinas justice video out today so that you guys know what's happening and you can be caught up with it. And yeah, if you guys want to rock some Guilty of Crime merch for the summer, we have Guilty of Crime hats, we have blankets, we have summertime stuff, we have tank tops. Please go over to Guilty of Crime and buy some merch, all right? Tiffany does a lot of work to get the merch done, and it'd be nice if you guys would support that effort that she does so well. Remember, we give a lot away on this channel, but we also have to support the channel. So, Lady for Justice, thank you for the $1.49 super sticker. That absolutely helps me to support the channel and put money back into it so we can continue doing giveaways and keeping you up to date on all the latest things. Clark, good to see you. I missed you yesterday. Janet Rawlings, Jay keeps us on top. Absolutely. I do my best. After we're all done here, birthday month, I'm going to be doing a case a day, right back to that. So, Melina Galinas, guys, let me tell you a little bit about her before we get into this, all right? So, you guys roll on in, do your thing, and I'll tell you what the heck happened, what's going down, what's popping, what everyone's talking about. Luciano and Melina entered the United States on July 11th, 2025 for a vacation. Guys, it's July 22nd, 2025. How did that happen so in such a small time frame? Now they plan to return to Canada on July 20th, which was 2 days ago, where Melina lived full time with her mother, right? This was a scheduled visit with the dad. Now, this is not your usual suspect where the dad's trying to get back at the mom. No, no, no. From what we hear, we have heard why he did this. And I think you're going to be shocked because this guy, her dad, this monster that took her life and lied to the world, what he did with her, I mean, it's terrible, shocking, but it was scheduled and there wasn't signs because this guy is a wealthy owner, a wealthy entrepreneur. We never would have saw any of this coming. Thank you so much, Nat, for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships that will be given to somebody that I hope wants one. And yes, off topic, Ozzy Osbourne passed away earlier today. He's an absolute icon, and may he rest in peace. One of my first concerts that I ever went to was the Ozzy Osbourne Festival, what's the name of that? They have it in Mountain View, California. I went to so many Ozzy concerts that he put on. It was awesome. Rob Zombie was there, of course, Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Absolutely. He's an icon. He's an icon, guys. So may he rest in peace. Oh, Biscuit, say, hey, Crime Crew. So stoked to catch a live. Keep being your awesome self, Jay. And I appreciate that so much. Yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy. I love those Ozfest is what they called it, Ozfest. I went to so many Ozfests and saw so many great rock and rollers that just awesome. I just love it. Love him. Ozzy's my favorite. Under the Mystic Moon says he was my first concert in 1988 with Black Sabbath. Absolute best. All right. So rest in peace. Aston Lee says I met him in Huntington Beach. And I saw him in Mountain View, California. Yes, Ozzy Osbourne died. I believe he had cancer and it now got the best of him. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about, well, a couple of weeks ago, he actually talked to his audience and told them that he might be dying soon. And sure enough, it happened today. So, yeah, a moment of silence for Ozzy Osbourne, guys. May he rest in peace. All right. All right. Yeah, he's been out there. He's been out and about. You say he had Parkinson's too. I don't have the article with me, but and I don't want to take away from little Melina. So let's keep going. All right. You guys go ahead and put that in chat where you saw Ozzy and all that, and then we'll get back to why this happened to this little girl the way that it did and how we can relate this case, guys. You tell me. You guys have to tell me here. You can relate a hoax gone bad to cases like Summerwell's, Jack and Lily. How many other cases do we think Sebastian Rogers? You think Sebastian was, you think it was a hoax that the parents pulled, dumped his body, and we don't know where he is? We can't find him. What do you guys think? I think this hoaxer just got caught really fast. All right. So thank you guys. I see you guys. Everybody's talking about Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Zombie. I love them. I'm glad Rob Zombie's still with us. And Emily says, Merch Babe, also on the 28th, he was sentenced to life. I missed that one. You guys are having complete side conversations, which is interesting because so many of you guys, I don't even know how to tell you. There's only 100 people in chat, but probably that many of you emailed me to cover this kidnapping hoax. Melina Frattolin, I'll just call her Melina Galinas, 9 years old, went on vacation with her dad and did not make it back. It was a hoax. All right, so let's get back to this. 5:30 p.m. July 19th, 2025. Officials say Luciano and Melina were seen on video surveillance. We're going to look at all this in Saratoga Springs, New York. Around 6:30 p.m. on July 19th, Melina spoke to her mother on the phone and told her she and her father were en route back to Canada. Sometime after Melina spoke to her mother on the phone and before her dad reported her missing, he allegedly took her life. According to authorities, her body was ultimately found in a shallow portion of a pond in a wooded area, police said. Now, her cause of death was pending autopsy results until today, so I have those for you. Now, inconsistencies in her father's story is why this all unfolded as a hoax gone bad, gone deadly, I should say, not even gone bad. All right, let me tell you why. Inconsistencies from him as he reported her missing after he took her life. Luciano reported that his daughter was missing around 10 p.m. on July 19th. He told authorities that him and his daughter were driving on I-87 in Lake Georgia, which I'm going to pull up in a bit. When he pulled over to pee, he said urinate in a wooded area. He returned and the vehicle and his daughter were both gone, is what he told authorities. So the Warren County Sheriff's Office activated an Amber Alert, guys. So if you got that Amber Alert, it was activated about a missing girl, which was Melina Galinas. All right. Officials noted that the time they found inconsistencies, her dad's timeline of events, and added to that, there's no indication of an abduction occurring. His timeline did not match the evidence they gathered. So police confirmed on the next day around 5 p.m., Melina was found dead in Ticonderoga, New York, which is about 100 miles south of Albany by Vermont border. A New York State Police Department of Environmental Conservation officer, also a PBA member, found Melina's body while conducting a grid search in the Ticonderoga area. Officials allege that Luciano red-rummed his daughter after the pair, who lived in Montreal, traveled to the United States for a vacation month. All right, we celebrate birthday months. They were going on a vacation month. Her dad, Luciano, said he had been, or he didn't say, Luciano has now been charged with second-degree red rum and concealment of a human corpse and is being held at Essex County Corrections. All right. Now, the background on him is that he was supposed to be a wealthy guy. He was supposed to be a wealthy guy, by all means, by everything that everybody saw, he was a wealthy guy. And I'm going to pull this up soon, but I wanted you to know that at the heart of the investigation, this guy is the founder of Gambella Coffee and a seasoned entrepreneur. All right, so let's talk about that. Yeah, demonic. I couldn't have said that better. Lisa, how you doing today? Yeah, he was he was the owner of that. Now they put CEO as a way to, you know, they CEO is a title that you get in some companies. Even as the owner, you're still running the company. So I'm going to show you real quick this article so you can see what went down as I'm going through it. Honey Badger, don't give a fuck. I won't say the whole thing. Welcome, Lori Honey Badger. I know she don't. And everybody else that's here, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe, get yourself in green, pink stars. If you get in green, then you have the possibility to win our Foxy boxes and also support the Guilty of Crime channel. All right, so thank you guys for being here. Let's get into this. All right, this is this little girl. You saw pictures of her earlier, Melina Galinas, 9 years old, found dead in New York after an Amber Alert. Police say no indication of an abduction based on her dad's report. Now, there was a lot of inconsistencies, which I'll break down for you in a bit. But what you need to know about this, even if you're following it and you don't know or you do, this was a 9-year-old girl whom authorities said was believed to have been abducted from Lake George on Saturday, July 19th. All right. Now, she was found dead. Police say there was no indication that she was abducted. Authorities in New York issued the Amber Alert, and then they found inconsistencies. The 9-year-old, whom authorities said was believed to be in imminent danger, had been found dead following the initial reports. A day later, on Sunday, July 20th, after the officials issued an Amber Alert, New York State Police announced that she was dead in Ticonderoga. Now, Melinda's 45-year-old father, Luciano Frattolin, I think that's how you say it, initially called Warren County at 9:58 p.m. local time to report his daughter missing. According to a release that was shared by the police on July 20th, they later issued an amber, which prompted nationwide coverage and probably you guys to pick up on the story. All right, I'm going to talk about the inconsistencies here in a minute. Due to jurisdictional considerations, the Warren County Sheriff's Office have turned this investigation over to New York State Police. All right. At this time, no indication that an abduction occurred. So they moved this. They moved to this. All right. Both the father and the daughter are Canadian residents per the state. There she is with not such a good picture. The news of Melina's death came just hours after the police announced the Amber Alert. All right. He told them that the 9-year-old, who was said to have been last seen in a white van, a creeper van at 9:40 p.m. that night, was taken under circumstances that led the police to believe that she was in imminent danger and serious bodily harm or death by that time. All right, there's a lot that goes into this here, so I want to show you a lot of the visuals that we have going on. And let me just tell you some of the inconsistencies before I get into this. Why did the father have to end Melina's life? Well, you're going to be pretty shocked at why. You're going to be shocked at why. Let me tell you some of the things. I'll get to the why. I don't want to tell you just yet. The father is a self-proclaimed entrepreneur, investor, company owner, CEO. But when you look at his digital footprint, it can be revealing as you look at the paper trail. Now, he was curated social media and company website painted a portrait of a doting, worldly entrepreneur that doted on his daughter. All right. So if you look at his profiles, he's got loving father, A lot of them were taken down by now, which sucks because I wanted to show you guys. He owned Gambella Coffee website. That was his own venture. His biography reads like a novel of global heritage, if you know what that means. He was born to an Ethiopian mother and father, and he recounts childhood days among coffee plantations and Millen's neoclassical sprawl. The About page underscores humanities and social sciences education, and it emphasizes Melina as the light of his life. Melina's his daughter. All right. So he's got all kinds of pages showing luxury and wealth. Not so much, guys. Not so much. When police and reporters reached out by LinkedIn, Instagram, and his company's contact form, nobody responded. And a lot of the platforms took down the social media. All right. So he had a virtual brand, worldly entrepreneur, devoted father, cultural bridge builder. Now it collides with the allegations against him and taking his daughter's life and the way that he did it. All right. Further angles to explore could include public financial filings of or for Gambella Coffee, interviewing family friends about his offline behavior is much different than what we see. And we're going to get into that. But let's talk about the autopsy results. And I want you to see exactly what happened because we're all visual, especially me. Emily, thank you so much for the one guilty of crime membership. Nath, you're I love you. Thank you. Thank you. You're just awesome. Everybody thank Nath. 10 memberships Nath gifted. Foxy gifted the 420 in honor of her brother. Christopher taken too soon at 19, and Emily Jane, the one guilty of crime. All of it helps. Thank you. Lil Red, hit that thumbs up, guys. All right, let's get into this even further. This is a wild, wild case, man. I'm glad that I get to just hop on cases like this. All right, autopsy results released hours ago in the death of Melina Galina's Frattolin.
New York State Police releasing new details about the death of 9-year-old Melina Frattolin, whose body was found Sunday in Ticonderoga.
We now know her cause of death was asphyxia by drowning, and the manner of her death was homicide.
Thanks for being with us at 4 on this
drowned
Tuesday.
her daughter. His
And
daughter.
I'm Lauren Granata. A Canadian man remains behind bars in the U.S. after being charged with the murder of his 9-year-old daughter.
Luciano Frattolin was traveling from Montreal with his daughter Melina when police say she was killed. Now, police are asking for help gathering more information about the timeline of their trip.
Take a look at your screen here. These are photos.
Like, you can't even imagine something like this happen. I mean, it's so scary nowadays, guys. I mean, I'm so grateful for my family and my children and my wife, and not having a split family. I guess I'm blessed in that way. I'm a very spiritual person. You guys probably know that by now. Gene P says, I love your passion for these riveting cases. Thank you. I'm so grateful that I have my wife and my children, and those are my children that I had with my wife, so I don't have to anxiously pass my children off to somebody or another relationship. But that happens. That's what happens in 2025, and divorces are a 50-50 thing. They used to be a lot different. Now it's a 50-50. You get married and 50% get a divorce, and the other 50% stay together. And I might even be wrong. It might be higher nowadays. So I'm just going to say I'm grateful. I'm thankful. My 20-year anniversary is coming up. And luckily, my children are beautiful and healthy. Thank God. Merch Babe says co-parenting sucks. Well, when it's with the POS. And most of the time, if you have a co-parenting situation, it's because the other person was a POS and it didn't work out. All right. I don't know. I do not know, Maggie Duke. Let's listen to this. Your heart's going to sink.
Was released by the New York State Police in just the last hour. They show a 2024 Toyota Prius that the two allegedly traveled in during their vacation to upstate New York between July 11th and July 19th, the day Melina died. They are asking anyone who may have captured footage of this car in the Ticonderoga or Lake George areas to submit the footage to investigators.
Meantime, NBC5's James Maloney has been learning more about Luciano Frattolin and joins us now live from the newsroom. James, what can you tell us?
Yeah, well, Jack and Lauren, about an hour ago, we did receive that tragic update about.
Yeah, and they ruled it. They're going to tell you it's asphyxiation by drowning, kind of like Malcolm Jamal. Did you guys see the guy from the Cosby Show died? He was on vacation with his family, and he died drowning. He went out there, and he went maybe too far out. The current, the tide took him, and he got swept away, and he drowned. They brought him back in, and you know what, Monique, are you psychic? Because ding, 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 that's one of the main things that he actually said was that. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. This guy is supposed to be this wealthy entrepreneur, worldly guy, doting on his daughter. And this, you know how long it takes to asphyxiate or suffocate somebody, guys? 2 to 5 minutes, closer to the side of 3 minutes. It takes 3 minutes. That's 180 seconds to sit there and do that to somebody or do that. That's a long time to think about what you're doing. All right, let's keep going.
Melina Frattolin, a medical doctor, says she died of asphyxia due to drowning, and the manner of her death is homicide. After police debunked an Amber Alert for her disappearance, court documents allege that her father killed Melina in a wooded area off of State Route 74 in Ticonderoga last Saturday night. Her body was found by a team of environmental conservation officers in a nearby pond under a log. Luciano Frattolin has an online presence, including several social media posts.
You're going to be surprised by why. You guys need to stay here to hear the reasons why. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's ludicrous. Anybody would have been happy to do any of this stuff, but this guy is out of his freaking ever-loving mind with what he says. It's shocking, guys.
He describes himself as a loving dad and refers to Melina as the light of his life. According to a now defunct website, Frattolin was born in Ethiopia and owned Gambella Coffee, a business located in downtown Montreal. In a press conference on Monday, police said Frattolin had been estranged from Melina's mother since 2019. Police said the young girl lived with her mother full-time, but that her mother had no worries about the vacation. A candlelight vigil is planned in Ticonderoga tonight in Melina's honor. People in the community are shocked by this situation.
We're going to show everybody what Ticonderoga really is. It's just not a resting spot off the side of the road for this young girl. This is a community that is loving, caring, giving, and she's one of us now. And if that's where her soul is to rest, then we will celebrate her life in the short 9 years.
Now, listen, guys, imagine had they not found her so quickly that we would have been in another situation of Sebastian Rogers with Katie and Chris Proudfoot. Dad's his well-to-do guy, the love of his life, the light of his life is his daughter. Imagine her being at the bottom of some body of water with us never finding her. We would be in another kidnapping hoax situation. Now I'm banging my head and I'm thinking, how many more people have done this in these other cases that we've been covering? Yeah, it was very fast. Very fast. He was sloppy.
That it was. And we will be her light in this dark time.
You're going to see.
The district attorney for Essex County says Luciano Frattolin is still expected to make another court appearance in Ticonderoga for a felony hearing on Friday. Frattolin is being held at the Essex County jail. And his investigation continues, police are asking anyone with information to contact them. The vigil being held in Melina's honor will be taking place at the Percy Thomas Bicentennial Park in Ticonderoga tonight at 8. Live.
So this is from today, guys. If anybody's over there today, that's happening in the next few hours. You're going to see, guys. You guys, I have a lot of questions. Buckle up, because we're about to get into why, how, and all of that. We're going to get the full deal, guys. This is the full episode of Kidnapping Hoax. 9-year-old Melina Galinas found dead. Dad arrested for red rumming her. It's heartbreaking, shocking. I'm so glad they found her so quickly.
In the newsroom, James Maloney, NBC5 News.
James, thank you. Again, police are looking for your help in gathering more information about this vehicle. It's a 2024 gray Toyota Prius that they say Melina and her father traveled in from July 11th to July 19th. Police say they traveled between Schroon Lake and Ticonderoga and Fort Anne and Lake George. You can contact the number that is on your screen right now.
The reason they want that, guys, is for the evidence. All right. Tiff says merch surprise. The first crime crew members to purchase a mystery box will receive a Guilty of Crime Bluetooth speaker, tumbler, and a Foxy Bobble. Guilty of Crime merch. All right, let's keep going. Millie Rivera, good to see you, my friend. Come on in, hit that like button. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you, tell you, read to you all the above why he says he did this. All right, so let's take a look at this. Luciano Frattolin, dad who killed his daughter, was struggling to pay child support, and he tells court he's broke and cannot hire a lawyer. That's not the only reason, guys. That is not the only reason. All right, let's keep going. This came as it was revealed that Frattolin hid his daughter's body in a remote pond after telling cops she was kidnapped by two men. All right. July 22nd, 2025. That is today, my friends. The Canadian father charged with red rumming his 9-year-old was reportedly drowning in debt, was struggling to keep up with his child support payments, and shared bizarre social posts claiming the young girl had turned his life upside down. What does that mean? Guess what, guys? He was upset that she would make projects and leave them out. You know how children are like the Tasmanian devil, and they do their painting, their hand paint. They put stickers on stuff. They make messes. Children make messes. That's another reason he didn't like the messes she was making. And yet he's rich. Blaming his daughter. He couldn't pay child support. That's not the only reason, guys. Luciano, 45, who was once claimed himself to be a successful coffee business owner living a lavish lifestyle, appeared in court on Monday facing charges of killing his daughter Melina. During a trip to upstate New York, he told a judge that he couldn't hire a lawyer. This came as it was revealed that he hid his daughter's body in a remote pond after telling cops that two men had kidnapped her. All right, so there's the motive behind the red rum. Listen up. Frattolin was born in Ethiopia, praised Melina on the official websites, all of his social media, guys, but it was pulled down. Gambella Coffee describing her as beautiful, the light of his life, which we heard. All right, listen up here. He says he admitted struggling to cope with his daughter's messy art projects and chaotic toys because of his obsession with keeping perfect order in his home. Do you guys want me to say that again? One of the reasons he red rummed his daughter is because he didn't want to keep up with the messes in his home of what she was doing. All right, guys. Now, baby guilty tears up my house. I like my house in order too, but children make messes. So, number one, I can't even believe he said that out loud. He couldn't keep up with their messes and he couldn't pay child support. All right, Country Creations, I'm going to catch you up on this case today. All right, so 9-year-old Melina Galinas was found dead after a kidnapping hoax by her OCD father that was really broke instead of rich like he portrayed. All right, you heard the motive. He struggled to keep up on messy art projects. What? Is that even real? Why would you even say that? Right here, he admitted struggling to cope with his daughter's messy art projects and chaotic toys because of his obsession with keeping the house in perfect order. In the biography, which has been removed from the web, he also referenced a life marked with deep personal struggles, mentioning experiences with racism, feelings of isolation, and a loss of his father as a teenager. Frattolin hints at an unfortunate event in 2019 that claimed he had a serious impact on his mental health and forced him onto a long and arduous path towards healing. Police revealed during a press conference on Monday, which we're going to listen to, about his Monday, that he became estranged from his ex-wife that same year. So a lot of things piled up on him, and his mental health took a toll. Alongside with emotional turmoil and a strained relationship with his former spouse, he was also dealing with over 200,000 in debt linked to his business ventures in Montreal, Canada. Since 2020, the struggling businessman had been renting a property in Montreal's trendy Mile End neighborhood, which is subleased by Airbnb, according to La Presse. He hired 2 property managers to run the venture, including handling rent payments, allowing him to use remaining income to cover child support, according to the court records. All right. So he was struggling to survive, not telling anyone. He had a divorce and several other things going through his evil mind. His lease was terminated by landlord in August 2024. He fell behind by $26,000 in rent. He was subsequently barred from accessing the property, where he claimed he kept his daughter's winter clothes and toys. All right, look at that beautiful face, guys. Nothing is worth taking the life of your child. Okay, I told you guys yesterday, you guys, anybody that feels that way, please reach out to somebody to get help. There's no reason that money or debts or anything should take the life of a beautiful angel or a person over money. It can all be replaced. It can all be fixed. All right. Now, let's keep going. This is wild. I just can't understand this. Now, he's suing the property manager for more than $115,000, alleging the misuse of the rental unit, which, you guys, he's never going to win. There he is again. In response to the property manager accused him plan to empty his bank account and leave the country, a claim he has denied. Now, a former staff member of I don't know how to say that, D Cafe, a coffee shop previously owned by him, said he had been splitting his time between Italy and Canada over the past year and a half. He reportedly still owes the Bank of Nova Scotia around $83,000 related to business expenses. All right. Luciano and his daughter Melina, beautiful little angel, gone way too soon. The bank claims he's also responsible for another $97,000 in unpaid credit card debt to the Cafe Gambella, a second coffee venture that shares the name with his online coffee brand. However, his Instagram painted him as a starkly different picture. I went into all that earlier. Okay, so here we go. He and his daughter were on vacation in Lake Georgia area shortly before she was killed, just about 30 miles from where her body was discovered. So listen, guys, he didn't do too well getting rid of her body. I don't know what's wrong with people, guys. He unalived his baby girl over messes, debt, and who knows what else. All right. 2 stoner dudes said, I effing knew it. All right, let's take a look. We're going to get into the everything. We're still going. Listen, look behind them. These are the pictures. Lake George in I'm not sure to say that. Adirondack Mountains. I'm not sure. 60 miles north of Albany. Beautiful picture. Daddy's got daughter. She's kissing him on the cheek. Life looks good, doesn't it? I don't understand this. So, of course, everyone's digging into his background. Now, he entered the U.S. legally and was on vacation since July 11th with plans to return to Quebec on Sunday. Monday, he was in court and he pled not guilty. He was charged with second-degree red rum, a crime that could result in a life sentence under New York law, along with the charges for hiding a human corpse. His human corpse. His next court date or appearance is scheduled for my birthday, guys, July 25th. So if you want me to keep up on this case, let me know. Adirondack. Okay, I'll leave that up there. She doesn't look happy with him in those pictures. She looks like she's going through the motions. All right. Look, here's Malcolm Jamal Warner. Bill Cosby show star dies from accidental drowning. All right. We're going to stop this. And oh my God, there's so many things, guys. So many things in this case. Sad. Now we're going to get into what happened. Trigger warning. I want you to see the second press conference, father arrested, and what the heck happened.
2025 at approximately 10 o'clock p.m. Warren County 911 received a call from a man reporting his 9-year-old daughter missing with a possible abduction in the area of exit
Thank you,
22
guys.
of I-87 Northway in Lake George. The child was identified as Melina
Yep.
Frattolin, age 9, and the caller as her father, Luciano Frattolin, age 45. The New York State Police and Warren County Sheriff's
Thank
Office
you.
immediately responded to the area of exit 22 of the Northway and initiated investigation
I know.
in an attempt to locate Melina.
I don't have much.
On Sunday, July 20th, a search detail comprised of officers from multiple agencies
Let me
conducted
turn-
an organized search
Here, I'll
in
do
the town of
this.
Ticonderoga, New York. In an area, Mr. Frattolin was suspected of having visited. During that search detail,
Listen, guys, this was the best audio they had, and it was from Idaho News. So, all right, let's keep going. I just want you to hear this, what happened. The audio is low on their end, and it's low on everybody's end. So I put the words above. Lauren, good to see you, my friend. Lauren from Wisconsin. What's up?
at approximately 10:50, members of the New York State Police Forest Rangers located Melina deceased in the shallow portion of a pond.
Yeah, this is terrible,
This
guys.
investigation has revealed that on July 11th, 2025, Mr. Frattolin and Melina, both residents of Montreal, Quebec, legally entered the United States for the purpose of a vacation. They are expected to return to Canada on Sunday, July 20th, at which time Melina
Awful.
would be returned to the custody of her mother in Montreal. The mother and Mr.
Come on.
Frattolin have been estranged since 2019. The child resided full-time with her mother, and Frattolin visited with the child when in Canada. At about 5:30 p.m. on July 20th, Melina is observed with her father on video surveillance in Saratoga
This
Springs,
is
New
not
Jersey.
a hoax.
At about 6:30 p.m., she spoke to her mother on the phone and
So it's a hoax turned deadly, my friends. Listen, kidnapping hoax, 9-year-old Melina found dead. Autopsy was revealed today. She was strangled, asphyxiation. It was a hoax, but he got caught and it turned deadly. So I ask you, two stoner detectives, how many other kidnappings that we're covering are hoaxes? Do you still think that Sebastian is out there somewhere? Or do you think that Sebastian's body is out there somewhere? What about Summer Wells? What about a lot of these other cases and parents claiming and calling 911 and the body's just not being found yet? Well, this is what it's going to sound like when they do find Sebastian, in my opinion. I do not think he's alive.
told her she and her father were en route back to Canada. The
Thank
child
you.
appeared to be in good health and did not indicate she
Thank
was
you, military
under
mom.
any duress. The investigation has determined sometime after Melina's phone call with her mother and before Mr. Frattolin's 911 call, he allegedly murdered Melina and left her body in a remote area where she was later discovered by law enforcement. Initial reports from Mr. Frattolin of a suspicious
Yeah.
white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue. The suspect has been charged with murder in the second degree and concealment of a human corpse.
I agree, but we need to see what's behind the second degree. And he's going back to court on my birthday, July 25th, on my Leo twins' birthday. All my Leo twins. All right, Diamond Ring Girl, good to see you, my friend. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. And yeah, why didn't he just bring her home? Like I said to you guys, nothing's worth your child's life or anybody's but money, messes, none of that. All of that can be fixed. Man, it can all be fixed.
Transported to the Essex County Correctional Facility where he was held pending arraignment.
Jack and
The suspect
Lily,
is scheduled to be at Ticonderoga Town
thank
Court
you. Thank
this
you.
morning for arraignment. Melina's cause of death is pending the results of an autopsy, which is scheduled for later today.
So I already gave you the autopsy. The autopsy came out hours ago, and this was prior to it. So yes, the reason this is a hoax turned deadly is because this was a hoax. He reported 2 men kidnapped his daughter, but the inconsistencies didn't add up. They found her body a day later, and there you go. He's arrested. All right, it's a kidnapping hoax gone wrong.
This is certainly a difficult case and a heartbreaking investigation. On behalf of the New York State Police and our law enforcement partners, I want to offer our condolences to the family of Melina. I would additionally like to thank our partners with the Warren County Sheriff's Office, Essex County Sheriff's Office, Warren County District Attorney, Essex County District Attorney, the Montreal Police Department, Department of Environmental Conservation, the Ticonderoga Police Department.
Yeah, it
and the
does.
FBI
It does
for their
seem like,
assistance in
thank
this
you.
investigation.
Jack and Lily seems like
Any
this
member of the
too.
public has information regarding the death of Melina Frattolin.
And the reason I'm saying Jack and Lily too, I agree that I forgot that one, but Jack and Lily seems like the ultimate of hoaxes. It seems like that their mother didn't want to take care of children anymore, was overwhelmed by the smallest one. Maybe she still had postpartum and a missing hoax, and we don't know where their bodies are.
I encourage them to contact the New York State Police at area code 518-783-3211. I will now answer a limited number of
Thank you,
questions.
Big Girl for life.
I ask for your patience as due to the active nature of this ongoing investigation, I am limited with respect to how much we can release at this time. The
Motive.
is still under investigation.
We know it now. Yeah, I do want to know this too.
Yes, sir.
What?
So the suspect's initial account
Listen,
is
the
that he had pulled over in
inconsistencies.
the area of exit 22 in Lake George.
Yeah.
Pulled over into a parking lot to urinate. His initial report is he steps away to a wooded area, returns to
Yes.
the vehicle, and at that
Yes.
point, his child is gone from the vehicle.
Another
He reports a
Canadian
suspicious
case.
white van fleeing the scene southbound. During a subsequent interview, he then reports
Thank
two unknown males forced her into a white van. That lead was thoroughly investigated.
Sherry Papini is one of the ultimate hoaxers, but I'm so glad that nobody ended up dead. All right, but she's the ultimate hoaxer. Thank you, Military Ma. We love you being part of the crime crew. Ashton Lee says, seems like the rules get away with it. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yes, from Montreal, Canada. This is another case from Canada brought into the US because they were on vacation. I don't know what would lead you to go on a month-long vacation and then do this unless this was something he had already planned. All right. Yeah. Sherry Papini is a nutcase, and so is this father.
And disproven.
Yeah. Babies need justice.
The cause of death is pending the results of the autopsy.
Now we know it's strangulation, asphyxiation.
We have no information that there's any issues with mental health. No.
And that's only one day. Imagine Jack and Lily, how long we've been looking for them, and Sebastian. No, we did not hear about SA in her. Thank God.
No criminal history. He has no domestic violence history either.
That's so weird. There's no signs, guys. No signs of it.
I cannot provide any information with regard to that at this point. I don't want to speak to the prosecution, but he'll be charged and prosecuted in New York State.
What led you to Ticonderoga?
I don't want to divulge too much with respect to law enforcement technology or the tools we use, just to say that we focus our search area at Ticonderoga based on inconsistencies in his initial account, as well as some technology available to law enforcement.
Where did the 911 call in?
Yeah, true.
The suspect.
No, geographic.
Warren County.
Was it in Lake George though, or was it?
It was the area of Lake George, correct, in the area of exit 22.
And two missing children, how many of them are really missing?
Murder in the second degree and concealment of the human corpse.
In terms of the Amber Alerts, I know there's been reports of some people getting it, some not. Can you just take?
I don't understand.
Issuing the Amber Alerts and what time?
Hi,
I
Teresa.
don't have the time in front of me, but I can tell you just any
Okay.
time an Amber Alert is issued, There's a balance between providing prompt
You're not too
information to
late.
the public, but also ensuring that information is accurate and reliable. We don't want to numb the public with unvetted alerts. So in this case, it was difficult to confirm some of the initial information provided by the suspect.
I am glad they did an Amber Alert, folks, because had they not done that, we might not have found her body so fast. I say we, like I'm part of it. Law enforcement, what we're doing here.
It was just a vacation. It was a planned vacation.
Yes,
They visited a couple locations in Connecticut as well as New York. They were most recently in New York City.
So show them some fun and then take their life. I don't understand.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
it did, especially because it didn't add
I
up.
have the timeline in front of me.
We'll get a little more of
Is
the
that right?
timeline.
I can't give you a number. It would be measured in the dozens. The Warren County Sheriff's Office sent every resource available to
That's good.
investigate this.
Every
prior to
resource.
this inception. Same with the New York State Police. We had us in conjunction with law enforcement partners. We had
Wait a minute. Ask that question again, two stoner detectives. I don't get this, Jay. How was he linked to this? Okay, so he's the one that did the kidnapping hoax in the first place, two stoner detectives. Melina Galinas is his daughter, and his name is Luciano. He's supposedly, in the eyes of the media and social media, Luciano is a founder of Gambella Coffee and supposedly a rich entrepreneur. He's the one that called 911 and said that his daughter was kidnapped by two men and they took her in a van. Once they did the Amber Alert, they realized a lot of consistencies were not adding up. There was a ton of inconsistencies in the case, and they went and did a search. They're looking for a kidnapping victim, and lo and behold, they find her body. That's how he was connected to this case. He's the one that started the hoax. It was a hoax turned deadly. She did not get kidnapped at all whatsoever. He took her life and then called 911 and reported her missing.
aviation, drones, K9, investigators, uniform troopers.
There's a possibility
Every
too.
resource we had to bear, we applied in this investigation. I don't have a time. It's scheduled for today in town of Ticonderoga Court.
Just to clarify.
She was found in New York, guys.
Shallow water.
Yeah, thank you.
In
You're
the shallow
welcome.
portion of a pond in a remote area. That's correct.
Yeah, hoax on you,
We're not
bastard.
divulging the location at this point.
He
Yes.
tried to conceal the body. That's part of it, is concealing a corpse. All right, we're gonna listen to more. This is a lot of, it's low, but I'm gonna fill you in on a lot of things. So let's take a look at this. This might give you a little more insight on the whole thing put together. All right. So father of 9-year-old charged with red rum and concealing of a corpse. Now, I gave you the timeline earlier. It's gonna give you a little bit more. July 11th, they were on vacation. Today's the 22nd. All right. So July 11th, they legally entered U.S. from Canada and traveled to Connecticut. All right, let's go. Let's listen to this.
Frattolin and young Melina, both from Montreal, came into the U.S. on Friday, July 11th for a vacation trip. Police say part of their trip took them to Connecticut.
And at about 5:30 Saturday afternoon, police say surveillance video captured Melina and her father at a McDonald's restaurant in Saratoga Springs. Police say Luciano called 911 at just before 10 o'clock Saturday night, saying Melina had been abducted at a
There it
rest
is.
area on the Northway near exit 22 in Lake George.
Police now say that abduction report was false. They found the 9-year-old's body in Ticonderoga yesterday afternoon under a log in a shallow pond. News Channel 13's Kumi Tucker has been covering this story all weekend. She was there as state police revealed new information today.
Kumi joins us now live from Troop G headquarters in Latham with more of those breaking new details. Kumi, good evening to you.
Good evening, Mark and Sabrina. Well, state police call this a very difficult case and a heartbreaking investigation. Police say that the little girl talked to her mother on Saturday evening and everything seemed fine then. Hours later, she was dead. 45-year-old
Yeah, they're talking about that right now and what the timeline is, the hours that he says and the hours that she was gone. Now, there are inconsistencies here that I'm looking at. He claims an abduction, but in his account, he told 911 dispatchers he had stopped on I-87 near Lake George to urinate. And when he returned, he said Melina was gone. He claimed he saw a suspicious white van fleeing the scene, but no witnesses or surveillance corroborated a van, and his timeline didn't match the location data investigators later reviewed. Now, a cover story to divert the search efforts, state police believe he red-rummed Melina sometime after she last spoke to her mother around 5:30 p.m. So between 5:30 and 10 p.m., they believe he already took her life and hid her. Now, by reporting a roadside abduction, he aimed to steer the search teams away from the remote pond in Ticonderoga where he had disposed of her body. All right. Now we see some of the motives, but no official motive yet, says authorities. They haven't publicly, or now they've publicly identified everybody. All right. And through his own company biography, he hinted at an unfortunate event that affected his well-being and chronic financial struggles. So whether it's financial pressure, untreated mental illness, getting back at the ex, I don't know, but he deliberately misled law enforcement by claiming a kidnapping. All right. He that's a critical timeline and none of it added up. So the fabricated story delayed a focused search, but they found her pretty quickly, right? He acted like a frantic, caring parent when he called 911, but nothing matched up.
Luciano Frattolin did not say anything as he came out of Ticonderoga court this
Yep.
morning. He
Cameras.
pleaded not guilty to charges of murder and concealment of a human corpse. He's accused of killing his 9-year-old daughter,
Yes,
Melina,
my
at the
goodness.
end of a father-daughter trip just before she was to return home to Montreal.
I don't know why.
Police say on
right?
Saturday night he called 911 to report his daughter missing, a possible abduction near exit 22 of the Northway in Lake George. He said he had pulled over to go to.
See, that gives you a better idea. A lot of people are wondering where and what it looks like there. And if you're from that area, you understand what the freeway, the I-87 looks like, etc. So it gives you an idea. And yeah, there's no excuse. None of that's an excuse. And buckle up, guys, because we still have another like 20-30 minutes of details explaining what happened and all of this as it unfolds.
George. He said he had pulled over to go to the bathroom and came back and she was gone. The search began. An Amber Alert went out early Sunday morning.
Too many
But
cameras.
investigators say the father's version of events just didn't add up.
Right?
And authorities say they found Melina's body just before 11 a.m. Sunday in the shallow part of a pond in Ticonderoga during an organized grid search. New court documents show that Frattolin is accused of trying to hide his daughter's body under a log in the water. The mother and father.
See, that's the difference. And that's, if you understand now about the hoax, a kidnapping hoax, he created that himself, but he didn't hide her body very well. And he thought he was going to divert the police to different areas. When you say you're pulled over on the highway or the freeway, now they're looking for a vehicle that's headed out of town, right? He just pointed them away. Annette, good night. You guys have a wonderful, whoever's leaving, hit that like button on the way out.
Have been estranged since 2019, and Melina lived full-time
we
with
have
her
all
mother,
night. Okay.
according to police.
Have all night.
She had no
Okay.
concerns.
I read that wrong.
For her daughter's safety while she
I
was with
know.
him. She knew that he was taking her on this trip to the States. Law enforcement was in contact with her as well as Montreal PD.
Police say at about 5:30 Saturday night, Melina is seen with her father on surveillance video at a Saratoga Springs restaurant, and she seemed fine to her mother an hour after that.
At about 6:30 p.m., she spoke to her mother on the phone and told her she and her father were en route back to Canada. The child appeared to be in good health and did not indicate she was under any duress.
Police say any possible motive is still under investigation. The grim discovery of the little girl's body yesterday dashed hopes everywhere.
It was very difficult. It's very emotional. I was at the command post, would have received notification that she was deceased. It was very difficult and emotional. At that point, though, the best we could do is provide some measure of justice to the family.
And the father is due back in court in
Monday,
Ticonderoga
July
on
25th.
Friday. The cause of death for the little girl was pending the results of an autopsy that was expected to be completed today.
Which I gave to you, asphyxiation. She was in the water, in the pond, drowning, asphyxiation. That's what they gave just today. So let's I'm gonna pull this one down and let's take a look real quick so you guys can kind of keep up for yourself on Facebook. Take a look at this, guys. So if you look at this group here, Melina, Galinas, Frattolin, or Frattolin, there you go. There's a Facebook group on there. Definitely say prayers for that family. I'm going to write her a poem. I'm so sick that this guy's a monster. Absolutely a monster. Take a look at this. A lot of locals are following this group, Abducted, Melina Galinas, discussion and updates. You can go here. I dropped a link in chat. It's giving you a lot of updates. They talk about the mom here, the arrest, the hoax, right? The different as it's coming. They talk about who the mom is, where she is. Now, the mom was in Canada, but she's now in the US as she had to identify her daughter's remains. That's not good. There's the vehicle. I'm sure her mom is just out of her mind right now, but this is a really good this is a good group to discuss the latest coverage on this. It looks like a friend of Frattolino's talking. Let's see what he
All
says.
the time that we've known him here.
All new on this Tuesday morning, a Canadian friend of Luciano Frattolin reacting to the news of his arrest. Frattolin is behind bars here in New York State, accused of murdering his own 9-year-old daughter while the two were on vacation here in upstate New York. Now the wait continues for the autopsy results in a tragedy.
Which we've got back now. So anyway, if you want to go follow that, you can see up to date recent media, pictures, How I Met Your Mother. Apparently this is the mom. I think the mom is on his left and our left. So it looks like that might be on our left if we're facing this way. Anyway, he's got two pretty ladies there. I heard the mother. There's a bunch of stuff here. Melina lived with her mom. Anyway, if you want to dig deeper, you can do that. I don't get this either. I don't know what's wrong with these monsters. Welcome, Purple, but this is a good place to keep up on this case. All right. So that being said, we're going to get into the next segment because we can, and there is. And somebody said that they're going to be here. They have all night, which is good. All right. So we have a new video related to this and the latest update. Let's share the screen here. They call this wealthy business owner killed young daughter on vacation. It just came out.
This dad is accused of killing his daughter. Here he is in shackles, reportedly headed to his first court appearance in New York. Video per WNYT TV. He seemed like a loving father. He called his daughter the light.
And we get to see more pictures and things because his social media was stripped down. You know how they try to do that when something like that happens, they pull all the social medias down. Some of these got captured. Some of it got captured.
But now he's in jail.
Hit
He
the
is
like button,
charged
yo.
with her murder. This is a
Thank
story that is so hard to believe. Police say this dad lied about his daughter being abducted. It triggered an Amber Alert in New York over the weekend.
Initial reports from Mr. Frattolin of a suspicious white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue.
We have the latest on a story that took a heartbreaking turn.
Look at that little
This led
angel.
this father to allegedly kill his 9-year-old daughter on vacation. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
All right, let's keep going. All right, this episode just came out, so I thought, hey, let's see this together.
It is hard to make sense of the story that we're talking about
Chris
today.
Stewart.
A father who took his daughter to New York for a 10-day vacation,
127.
and then police say on the last day of their vacation, he killed her.
Oh,
We learned a
man.
lot of shocking information today in this story. And before I
So somebody was right about that. You say some people take their children to Disneyland or they take them on vacation and then they take their life. I mean, look at what happened with Travis Decker. He took his little girls camping and he premeditated that. We know what he did. Zip tied, bags over their head. There was a case like this in the 80s where a father took his son to, I think, Disney World, and then he burned him. He put him in the hotel, left at night, and started him on fire. That little boy lived. He's not a little boy anymore, but yeah, apparently this is a thing. All right, let's keep going. We still got a bit.
Get to the update, let me introduce you to the girl who is at the center of this story, the young girl who lost her life, 9-year-old Melina Frattolin. She lived in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and she came to the U.S. with her dad on July 11th.
You remember that one?
Here's his picture. His name is Luciano
He's
Frattolin.
he's not wealthy.
Came into the U.S. for a dad and daughter trip. They went to New York City. They visited Connecticut. They went to some spots in upstate New York, according to police. Luciano is reportedly the founder of.
See, all of these pictures are up on his LinkedIn. I had all of his social media, and they freaking pulled it down. All right, at least we get to see it here.
Organic coffee company. Here's his bio on the company's website, and in that biography, it reads that his daughter Melina is the light of his life, and quote, she is the inspiration for, well, everything. Luciano grew up in Ethiopia. The bio goes on to say, quote, his pursuits for building a more equitable and just world are.
Now, that's not a lot. If everybody sits here and looks at 200,000 in the hole and how we live nowadays, people are in the hole when you own companies, own houses, own things. You're in some kind of debt in the hole for it. So what he did and the money or the messes just doesn't justify any of that, because everybody has that owns a house has some kind of debt. Not everybody, but a lot of people. He was 45 years old. Yeah. Hell, a house mortgage is more than the exactly, Lil Red. I'm glad you said that. That's a monster. You're right.
Deeply guided by his determination that she, his daughter, will not have to endure the same social injustices that he encountered throughout his childhood. His Instagram shows him taking Melina sledding in the snow.
They pulled that down.
Social media makes this story so much more difficult to bear because of how much time it seemed that he spent with his daughter. And at least there was the appearance that he loved his daughter. This is a montage of all the places they went together. This just hits you in the heart, if you're a parent or not, when you watch all of this. Here is Melina on Valentine's Day with a horse in a picture posted by her dad. And here he is giving her a big hug and a kiss on the head in what appears
I wonder if he knew by
After
then.
seeing all of that, it's really difficult to talk about the next part. But this is what police are telling us happened. New York State Police say on Saturday, Luciano Frattolin called 911 around 10 p.m. from alongside a highway heading north near Lake George, New York. Here is what police say he said per WRGB TV.
So the suspect's initial account is that he had pulled over in the area of exit 22 in Lake George, pulled over to a parking lot to urinate. His initial report is he steps away to a wooded area, returns to the vehicle, and at that point, his child is gone from the vehicle.
Yep.
He reports a suspicious white van fleeing the scene southbound.
Yeah, exactly. Ashley.
He then reports 2 unknown males forced her into a white van. That lead was thoroughly investigated,
and you would think you know that we would have seen somebody driving by. People on the highway would have seen something like that. Cameras would have caught something like that, and none of that. That was all debunked. Yeah, many business owners live off of lines of credit. Janet Lee, you're absolutely right. I work for a company that I've been working for years, and we own a building and all kinds of stuff. Different buildings, different locations, different things. That's life. That's you're right. That's life. And yeah, different states, different amounts, but potato, tomato, tomato. You don't take your children's life because of what you owe. I just cannot understand this other than walking demons on earth, guys.
Disproven.
Police say Luciano and Melina were heading back to Canada after they spent 10 days in the U.S. on vacation, and they crossed into the U.S. legally on July 11th. Police put out an Amber Alert on Saturday night, but police say over time, they found inconsistencies in what Luciano was reportedly telling them. They say around 6:30 p.m. on Saturday night, Melina called her mom to tell her that she and her dad were heading home
Poor
after their
Angel.
trip. Police say it didn't seem that she was in duress or in danger, at least on the phone. The next day before noon, police say they searched a wooded area near Ticonderoga, New York that they believed Luciano had visited, and that is where they made a terrible discovery.
On Sunday, July 20th, a
All
search
right,
detail.
we went through some of this. I'm not going to
Before
make
we
you
get
watch
back to
this
this episode-
again. Hold on, let's put.
That was scheduled to be done today. This is new video just in of Luciano leaving jail in Ticonderoga, New York, headed to his first court appearance.
Mr. Frattolin, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say about these charges?
Before we get back to this episode of On the Case, I want to stop and talk about our
And even besides that guy, hold on, let's make sure we get in here. We don't want Morgan and Morgan.
clock. And as you saw,
All right, hold on real quick. I want to say, what a hoax, all right? Trying to blame two mysterious men with no real description, nothing to be seen by passerbyers, nothing on camera, none of that. And that's why it escalated. And luckily, her body was found so fast because of that. All right, Countryside says I have a video of the opening. Even I was so excited. I'll send that to Jay. All right, let's keep going.
there. He
Thank
didn't
you,
answer
guys. Hit that
questions
like
from
button, guys.
reporters and just
Thank you.
looked forward as police put him in a cruiser to take him to court. That video per WNYT TV. According to the Albany Times-Union, which is the newspaper in upstate New York, Luciano Frattolin pleaded not guilty in that first court appearance in Ticonderoga court. He's facing a charge,
How do you
according to
plead
police,
not
of
guilty?
second-degree murder as well as a count of hiding a corpse. And it's sick to think.
And I do wonder if they're going to change that second degree to first degree, you guys. And I don't think that she was essayed, only because I feel like with the autopsy, they would have said something about that. They would have said they see some kind of essay, or they found some DNA on areas that they shouldn't have. But luckily, they didn't say that. Now, I think doing that and then taking her life would have been even worse. But I don't know. It almost sounds like he planned it. He probably did snap at some point, but you're right. It's to me, it's premeditated.
That those charges are related to the allegations that he allegedly killed his own daughter, the
See,
girl
huh?
who he publicly spoke of so lovingly. Now, he is a Canadian citizen, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment with our expert. But New York State Police said at their
In the
news conference
water.
this morning that even though he's Canadian, even though the alleged victim, his
I hope they keep him here in the U.S. They'll go much tougher on him. And Indy, she was found in the water under a log, not alive anymore. All right, Jessica Sessions, good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
daughter in this case is Canadian. Because he is accused of committing a crime in the United States, this is the country where he will be prosecuted. Now, although his custody situation may be a hint at a motive, again, there are so many questions, and one of them at this point is exactly what the motive was to allegedly do this. And another big question is, how could someone be so violent with seemingly no history of
Yeah,
being
me
violent,
too.
at least that we know of? New York State Police said this morning that Frattolin has no criminal history, including no allegations of domestic violence. Joining us now is retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt. It's always
Right.
great to have you on Law and Crime. This story is so incredibly sad, to say the least. The call comes in Saturday night around 10 p.m. from this dad, and he gives this story.
Now remember, the mom talked to her sometime after 5:30, maybe around 5:30, or so between 5:30 and 10 o'clock. They believe she was already gone. So it may have been on the later side. He did all that, and then he called 911, tried to hide it. Too many inconsistencies. No, he put her under a log, I believe. That's not what he said, but where they found her was unalived under a log. I don't think that happened accidentally. Right? Yeah, it's absolutely scary nowadays. There are no warning signs many times.
Of his daughter being abducted on the side of the road by two men driving a white van. They were going north.
Thank you
The
guys for
van
being
allegedly
here.
head
I
south.
appreciate you.
That doesn't end up being true, according to police. If you were one
A
of the
hoax.
investigators, you get this call. What red flags might stand out to you early just in
Agreed.
responding to this?
Well, first thing is, if they're responding to it's his demeanor. If he's demonstrating a level of calmness or a level of just suspicious behavior, these law enforcement officers, because they're dealing with people all the time, they're going to understand whether his behavior is suspicious or if he's really a distressed father.
And when you have, and I know that every single
And I appreciate you guys coming in here, rolling in late. Love with the questions. I do know why he did it. He says he did it for financial reasons because he couldn't afford child support and because he has OCD and he couldn't stand the messes that his daughter was making around the house with her projects. Seems so. It doesn't seem right, does it? It doesn't even sound right. No, he didn't just say child support. He literally said he couldn't keep up with the messes that she made in the house because he was obsessed with having control over how clean everything needed to be. Absolutely disgusting. All right, thank you, Synth, for the Guilty of Crime membership. I appreciate you. I can't even believe he said that.
call and every, sort of allegation that comes in, you have to investigate it. You have to take it seriously. But the story of a white van coming, yanking a girl out of the side of the road,
Mental health, he
driving
said.
off, it just
Yeah.
doesn't. It seems like a very sensational story. In your experience responding to these types of cases, when you hear a
That
story
sounds
that's
good.
that sensational, does that set off a red flag about whether it may not be true?
Absolutely. You're starting. It seems like everybody wants to blame something on
I
somebody
know.
else, and there's always these mysterious vans and these mysterious people.
Yes,
and
yes,
basically
yes.
kind of embellishing some.
There's mysterious things going on. How about at Sebastian's, guys? Sebastian's, there's mysterious flashlights and mysterious trash cans and mysterious things all over. Mysterious equals something going on, probably a crime going on. And I will check in a moment. I'll check my email, guys.
Sort of story, and
A
that
story
likely
is
was
right.
probably the first thing out of his mouth because he was developing his alibi, so to speak, to blame it on somebody else.
Okay, I got it.
As soon as the cops heard that, they're like, okay, we have a
Thank
problem
you.
here, and I'm sure they started digging in to find out exactly what was going on.
And when you're interviewing someone who, they make this incredible claim, you're trying to figure out where his daughter is, and you're trying to piece together whether or not he's telling the truth. What are some of the strategies you use?
All right, we're going to listen to that in a second. And is that happening right now? Because it says live right now. Tiff just sent me over a vigil. Do I believe who? Jay, do you believe him? I truly think he did something very bad to her and had to keep her quiet. I actually do believe him. I know many times SA is the actual motive, but I don't think that he SA'd her only because I think the autopsy would have said something and they would have charged him with something like that. I absolutely believe that he snapped about the messes. It got too much. The mental health, between the mental health, losing his business, losing his ex-wife, all of that within a year to a year and a half. I absolutely believe those were the circumstances. Now, if we find out later, but I'm going to pray right now that she didn't get SA'd before she was asphyxiated and put under that log. It's possible, but yeah, I hope it's not likely. All right. So Tiff, can you answer my question? Is it live right now? I'm confused what you sent me.
In interviewing someone to try to piece together whether or not they're telling the truth.
Well, it all comes down to the details. The
Okay.
details matter in prior inconsistent statements. So generally speaking, when you have an interview like this, you're going to let him go ahead and lay out his narrative. And then you're going to go back and start jumping into the details and really narrowing down or filtering down into some of the things he said. So if he has a color of a car, then you're going to ask him, okay, again, what the color of the car was, and then why he knows it was white, black, purple, or green. And then if he changes in the middle of that interview to a different color, every time there's an inconsistent statement, then you're going to narrow in and zero in on that behavior. And then eventually you'll have caught him in so many lies, so to speak. He's either going to kind of give up the information or the truth, or he's going to lawyer up.
How do you go about?
He doesn't have money for a lawyer.
Sure, not just.
That's one of the reasons why he told officers about what he did. I'll tell you why, because he couldn't afford a lawyer. When they looked at him, they look at you. Remember, you have to file indigent like the Anthonys, right? Carmelo Anthony. They went to ask him if he told them he wanted a lawyer, and he said, "I can't afford a lawyer. I'm actually broke." So yes, public defender, absolutely. All right, let's keep going. We got a vigil apparently.
How much do you actually investigate the claim? Try and figure out
That's
where the girl is,
interesting.
because it does seem it was pretty quick that detectives were able to understand that there were some inconsistencies in this man's story. They say, what's the next step when it comes to trying to figure out where this girl is? Because they're in a part of upstate New York. It's a very wooded area, and you're looking for one
Thank
young
you guys
girl.
for being here. Hit that
in-
like button.
And sadly, they find her body, but you're looking for one
See?
young girl.
There it
in
is,
the middle of
guys.
a very rural part of the state.
Had they nail
It
her
sounds to me
down.
that based upon how quickly they were able to identify
Yes,
that
yes.
a crime had occurred, that likely that the people that were first, or the law enforcement officers, the detectives, the first ones to interact with him, did a phenomenal job on the interview.
Yes,
and they
they
were able
did.
to find those inconsistencies, and then they were able to either corroborate or defeat his alibi, so to speak, very quickly.
Here, let
And
me
based
put this
upon
on.
some of the things he said, you know, if these law enforcement officers are very familiar with the area, he probably had made some statements that just didn't make any sense. They didn't match up. And then when they leaned in on him a little bit and asked him some very pointed questions, he likely gave it up, you know, because it doesn't sound like he lawyered up in the very little
In the
media-
very beginning, yeah.
details that we have. But it appears that the interview, that first interview, was what really broke this case wide open.
So
He
he's
said
from
like he's
Montreal,
gonna-
Quebec, Canada, and they come into the United States for, it just seemed like a dad-daughter 10-day vacation, New York City, Connecticut. But
So
he's now in
sad.
custody in Essex County, New York.
Yep.
How does this play
Yep.
out where
Yep.
he
Amen
came
to
into
that,
the
Low
United
Red.
States, he's not a U.S. citizen. I know the state police said he's going to be tried in New York, but how does that typically play out in a case like this?
Well, the
Good.
Canadian authorities are going to be notified. I mean, he has a right to notify the Canadian embassy.
Let me tell you, New York City in the United States is going to be a lot tougher on prosecution than if he were to go back to Canada. He picked the wrong place to commit this kind of crime. I wish he would have went to Florida. How about you guys? I know you guys feel let down by the case yesterday, the Stephen Stearns case, but don't worry. I'm going to keep you guys posted on where's Jen Soto, what's next, and what did Stephen Stearns say after he was convicted yesterday. I will share those things with you guys. I have 2 more episodes. One to detail the documents of what happened yesterday and discuss that, and then Jen Soto. So don't worry, I won't leave you hanging or in this case is either. All right, I dropped the link to the vigil. Let's see if we can get to that soon. I'm gonna go a little bit faster here. Let's see what they say.
Vermont and all of that. What type of communication typically and relationship do the Canadian authorities and the American
very
authorities have
welcome.
in cases like this?
Well, from a federal perspective,
Yeah.
they were excellent.
Florida
the
would have
Canadian
been better.
authorities and American authorities work very, very closely together. And
So
then
glad.
I'm sure the New York State Police, and they're a fantastic organization. They have
I know.
great relationships with
I
the
know.
Canadian authorities, and many times they're very close friends with the Canadian authorities, because the Canadians will come over to fish and hunt and hang out, and vice versa. I mean, cops generally, that's kind of have a universal language, regardless of the politics that is going on in the state, in the capital, so to speak. But I'm absolutely certain that the New York State Police are getting
So
all
cute,
the cooperation
man.
that they need from the
Why?
Canadian authorities, and vice versa.
Luciano Frattolin is his name. He allegedly kills his daughter, leaves her
Damn,
in
man.
a shallow body of water, according to police.
Under
He
a
doesn't
log.
run. He calls and creates this story that triggers an Amber Alert. What does that tell you about?
Again, he got caught, but imagine the 10 other cases where they didn't get caught and we still haven't found a missing child that just disappeared. That's what I want you guys to remember about this case and how many other cases we're covering that are probably really similar to this case behind the scenes that we don't know about. All right. So just imagine that with some of the cases that we cover. Imagine Jack and Lily. That is one giant hoax. Am I saying it's a hoax because the children aren't probably unalived by now? No, I'm saying it because they lied. That's a hoax.
How this crime potentially went down knowing that
Jack
he
and
didn't try to
Lily,
flee, he tried to
absolutely.
get out of it potentially by just making up a story.
Well, it kind of tells me, obviously we're speculating on his state of mind and what was going on.
Yeah,
But it tells me
true.
that there wasn't a lot of higher level thinking or planning that went into this. It appears that he just had some sort of reaction to some situation that occurred, and then he thought that he could, come up with some elaborate ruse or plan, which obviously the authorities broke down his story very quickly. So
Very
it just
quick.
doesn't appear that there was any long-term planning to this. I think there was a reaction to something that happened.
Oh, interesting.
And sadly, I feel like we've seen cases like this
Hold
in the
on, let me
past
take a
where you
look at
have
something.
someone involved in some sort of, I don't know if it's a child custody dispute, but he was going to return his daughter to his estranged wife. His estranged wife had full custody. They were on the final day of the vacation.
There it is,
There's no
guys.
official
Final
motive
day.
at this point, but New York State Police pointed that out.
Where's Jack
But
and
he also
Lily?
didn't have a history of domestic violence. He didn't have any sort of criminal background, according to police. What stands out to you
Thank
when
you.
we're trying to piece together what exactly happened here? That it does, I'm not going to say it came out of the blue, but in
Hey,
terms of
Spurzan.
even the girl had called her mom, according to police, and it didn't seem that she was in duress around.
Yeah, she called her mom, and then hours later, she was no longer with us. Now, Malaya and Daniel, where are Jack and Lily? This case of Jack and Lily is almost becoming absurd. The way that it's being covered, the lies that are being told over and over, the people that are going onto social media, onto YouTube, particularly, and telling stories. Yeah, two other hoaxes, Casey Anthony and Susan Smith. Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely right. Chris and Katie, where is Sebastian? Summer Wells, where are you? So many of them, guys. So many. Just remember that when you relate this. Yeah, Jack and Lily. No hoax in the Chris Watts case. It was for a small minute, though. All right.
6:30 that night before this 911 call is made hours later.
It appears that it was a reaction, like I said. So what they're gonna be
reaction.
focusing on his communications on his phone with his ex-wife. There might
Interesting.
have been something leading up to this through the communications that really basically set him off and made him go to that
Huh.
that final level. So it appears that there was no history of this. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is
Doesn't
never
mean
happened,
anything,
but
yeah.
it also really shows that that there was some issue there, and that the communications between him and his wife are going to be very important.
Yeah, what type of access will authorities, like once someone goes into jail on a crime like this, now he's
Yeah,
behind bars. I
absolutely.
assume eventually he'll end up getting a lawyer, but if you were an investigator on this, how often can you talk to him moving forward?
Well, it kind of comes down, if he gets a lawyer, then all communications have to go through the lawyer. So that's why
It's interesting because he pled not guilty, but he doesn't have a lawyer, and absolutely just it, like I said, kidnapping hoax, 9-year-old Melina found dead, dad arrested for taking her life. The hoax part just comes in when parents lie. They lie about something that happened, they claim this thing happened, and then everybody starts searching, doing, looking, calling, whatever, and that didn't really happen at all. All right. We're almost done with this. There's a vigil, but not much is going on. I'll show it to you, though.
that first interview is so important, but because
There's a lot of people
lawyer,
there.
Frankly gets involved. Although
There's no
it is
sound on
everybody's
it
right to have
either.
a lawyer at any time that they do interact with the authorities, but it really comes down to
That's
how much
awesome.
information they got from him before, including if he gave them access to his phone, and most importantly, the password or the passcode to get in that phone.
And then what can, just in your experience in working on a federal level,
May
when it
she
comes
rest
to
in
these
peace,
domestic
guys.
cases, and I know a lot of times that's a state or city type of case, but when you have someone who, he was going to return his daughter for custody, and even though there wasn't a history of this, something was going on emotionally. What can be done to prevent these types of situations in the future? And I know
How
that there's
can
still
you
a
when you
lot
don't
that we
know?
don't know, and we did learn a lot today from New York State.
Oh my God, you guys, that Jamal case is wild. I'll try to cover that for you when I get back because there's so many twists and turns in the Jamal kidnapping. And think about these hoaxes, guys. These hoaxes bring in money for the parents. Madeline Soto was not a hoax, but Jen Soto and Stephanie Soto went and got a GoFundMe and raised over $16,000 to pay for Jen's lawyer. So that's what we call by a hoax, when somebody's lying and they create this false story that everyone's looking into. So yeah, the Jamal case was crazy. I mean, people are realizing that if you create something that will make people feel a certain way, they want to give you money. And it's well known. If you guys are YouTuber, if you watch YouTube outside of true crime and you see a lot of the Krama channels, people throw their money at people for saying, "Oh, I had a bad day." A lot of it's contrived, you guys. I want you to know that about many social medias are contrived. They look one way so that you see it that way, but it's not like that behind the scenes. Or people will do something to make pull on your heartstrings so that you give them things or look past their lies, whatever it may be. Yeah, I agree. Under the Mystic Moon, I agree. I agree. I don't like being put in the category, and it's why I want to stay focused on missing persons, true crime, working with family members. Elisa Petrov's dad, I wish I could work with him further, but not because Elisa, something happens to her. I know I told you guys not too long ago she went missing again and then she was found. Anyway, there's a lot of nutty cases, and this is a prime example of the cases that we follow that actually have some kind of conclusion to them. All right, Barbie, geez, I don't understand what's going on in the world. Either parents are M, or M their children, or children are. I know. I don't even know what to say. Just say a prayer that these end of days or whatever's going on, that it doesn't sweep us in any of us into it. Coco Cutie, thank you for the $9.99 super sticker. Have you ever heard of the Hampstead hoax? That one was weird and gross. Maybe, if you let me know. I had a really bad day. All right, let's get at Nasiah Harris. I was making the folders today, guys, and we have so many cases that we've covered with guilty of crime together.
Police, but there's a lot that we still don't know about this case.
I know they're all
Well,
crazy.
to prevent this, you're talking about having some sort of department of pre-crime and being able to get into the minds of people. Generally speaking, their history is what's going to.
Thank you guys for getting me through yesterday.
He didn't have any history of domestic violence that we're aware of. So in this case, there really isn't anything that comes to mind that could have prevented this, unless the wife had known there was some sort of level of
exactly. That's the scary part.
She could have reported it, but
yep,
the mother,
scary part.
Doesn't appear that was the case here.
Hey, Nikki, hit the like button on your way in.
Incredibly sad story. We'll see how the legal part of it plays out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Colin Schmidt, retired FBI
yes,
agent.
it was.
It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with me.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm going to stop this. Yesterday was rough, and I got to thank you guys for being here with me yesterday. Let me share this real quick. The vigil. I don't see a lot going on. They have issues with the sound, but thank you, Tiff. Here it is. A vigil for 9-year-old girl. Vigil in Ticonderoga in memory of Melina Frattolin, the 9-year-old girl who investigators say was red rum by her father over the weekend. All right. I don't hear anything, but oh, it just went away. What happened? No. All right. Well, then they took the whole thing down. Dang it. I wonder what happened there, guys. Tiff, what happened? Yeah, thank you guys for being there. I'll put this up real quick. I'm going to remove this. That doesn't work. Let's put this back up and add that to the stage. Yeah, guys, thank you guys for being here with me. It was rough yesterday. I had so many different things going on in my head. It was hard to compartmentalize everything that went on. Yeah, that video's gone, Tiff. Gone, gone, gone. And then the vigil, yeah, the whole thing's gone. All right. Yeah, God has her now. Rest in peace. But we have to have, for this case, let's say a little prayer for Melina, Galinas, Frattolin, that she gets the justice that she deserves, and that her mom gets through this battle of identifying her daughter's remains and whatever else might happen between that time and having to go to court. Hopefully this guy doesn't make, I hear baby guilty in the background. So I think I'm going to, we've been here an hour and 33 minutes. I better get to what I need to do. Emily Jane, it was a series of false allegations starting 2014. The say so. Oh my goodness. Don't even, we can do a whole episode on that. I believe she'll get justice. All right, guys, we have a lot to talk about later on this week. Since as we should do a mental health help day. Oh my gosh, yesterday was unsettling. I still can't believe what he said. Yeah, we have a lot to uncover. Between what happened yesterday and where the heck is Jen Soto? What's her responsibility? What does it look like when you plead no contest? Does that leave the door open to prosecute Jen? Because I got to tell you right now, Stefan feels like he got duped, and he feels like maybe there's another person that was involved. Again, you guys know who was there. Another person that should have been held accountable. We'll see. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Jen. Right now, say a prayer for Melina, Galinas, Frattolin, and we will keep you posted on this case. I love you. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right? On that note, I love you guys, and I'll keep her up there. Good night, guys. Thank you.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?